In this video, we are going to learn about centering. This is a familiar looking page to most of you, I hope, at this point. So let's start this way. You're being told to draw an object. You're given a isometric, and you need to make that into a multi-view drawing using orthographic projection. Now, this is the formula for creating your horizontal spaces marked here by X and your vertical spaces marked here by Y. So it's the outer margins here. So let's start with the fact that this is for working with an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. With that in mind, if you look from edge to edge, that's 17, but if you take off a half inch off of each side, the remainder is 16. That's why H is 16. It's measured out at 16, clear distance from border to border. Same applies for here. This is your 11 minus 2 inches because you've got your margin here, and then you've got your title block down at the bottom. So Y being your vertical would be 9. 16 by 9. So with all that, let's get started with this. So if you were to take all of these measurements, width, depth, and height from here, you're looking at the absolute width this way and the height this way. Basically, we're just blocking out the shape. We're not concerned about all these little details. In order to center it, we're starting out with the basic shapes: absolute depth, width, and height. All right, now that we've got all of that under our belt, why don't we run through the formula here with the measurements that we've got from our isometric, and let's work our way through the formula. All right, so here is my pen, and I've got myself some paper. I want to make sure that this is in camera. I'm going to actually slide the camera a little bit like that so I can be a little more comfortable. There we go. Okay, so the first formula, let's do H for the horizontal right here. Right, just getting a couple of things put together. I'm going to need to do some math here. You can do it in your head. You can use a calculator, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. So the first thing we need is H, and we already discussed that H is going to be 16. All right, so we're looking at 16, and then you've got this bracket here, minus your width and depth. All right, so our width is 5.5. Actually, let me do that again. Width is 5.5 right there. Got to put there we go. That's a bad parenthesis, but bear with me. Plus depth. All right, let's look up what the depth is. So the depth is 2.75. And then the rest of the formula is divide by 3, and that's going to equal your x spacing, which in our case is our horizontal. All right, so divide by 3 equals x. All right, let's start to carry all of this down now. We can get all this stuff out of the way for now. All right, let's start with what's inside here. 5.5 plus 2.75. That's going to give us 8.25. Let's bring this 16 down like this. Let's bring down the divide by 3 equals x. All right, so we bring it all down and we've condensed it. Let's do the next step, which is right inside here. 16 minus 8.75. That's going to give us 7.75. Let's bring down divide by 3. Let's just drop that right down. Equals x. All right. So now we need to solve 7.75 divided by 3. That gives us 2.58 equals x. All right, 2.58. So the 2 stays the same. But let's look at our decimal conversion chart. 0.58. So 0.58, that's too low, that's too high. So that drops right about here, which is going to give us 9/16. So 2 and 9/16 is equal to x. Now, most people who have experience with this kind of stuff, you understand that 2.58. Oh, let me go back for a second. It says round x to the nearest 0.25 or quarter. So we're rounding this off now. So 2.58 or 2 and 9/16, that's going to equal 2.5. So x is equal to 2.5. So let's go back in here. And now we know that x here is 2.5. That's what we need for the gap here and here, or the spacing. This is going to help us center. Now, given the size of the objects, whatever's left over after drawing the objects with these spaces, that's what you're going to get here. I think it's 2.75, but when I draw it later on, I'll know. All right, so we'll leave that for now because, again, it's just whatever's left over. Same with here. That's why you have y plus and x plus over here. All right, let's solve for the vertical spacing, also called the y spacing. So let's take a look at that formula. Let's get a new sheet here. So that formula is v, which we said was going to be, I'm sorry, right here, v, which we said was going to be 9. All right, so 9 minus the height and depth this time. All right, let's get our height and depth. So our height is 3.5 plus the depth, which we already have, but we've got it. So let's look it up again, 2.75. Okay, let's continue the formula. Divide by 3 is equal to RY spacing. All right, let's run our way down here. So 3.5 plus 2.75, 6.22. So let's drop this down. So we've got minus 9 divide by 3 equals y. All right, let's do this little one. 9 minus 6.22 is going to give us 2.78. Let's bring this down, divide that by 3 equals y. 2.78 divided by 3, 0.926. 0.926. Let's take a look at the decimal conversion chart. 0.926. Closest would be 15/16. 15/16 equals y, but we're rounding, so we're going to call that 1. So y is equal to 1. So when I go to set up where my bounding boxes are, the spacing here and here needs to be 1. Here and here. And again, whatever's left over, that's the spacing here. Okay, so that's how we center. And then the next steps are everything we've learned about doing a orthographic projection and making a multi-view drawing. You'd be putting your miter line in. You'll be lining everything up this way, lining everything this way, and then you can start putting in your details and get more into what's happening with where the holes are and where these are cut out, things like that. All right. See you in the next video.